Hello friends, I'm Mitch Smith. Welcome to another episode of Thursday Night Theory. You might be able to hear that I've been somewhat under the weather this week, so I'm going to make this video very quick and to the point. Now last week we did some diminished scales and chords. I'll just touch on that very briefly before we get started. The diminished scale and or the chord, every note is a minor third away from the last. Okay? It doesn't sound resolved. You can run that as far up or down as you want, and it feels like it just never resolves anywhere. Where it resolves is a half step up from anywhere, or a whole step down. Okay? Since every scale degree is an equal distance from the last, any note can name it. So if I'm in the key of E minor, and I want to incorporate this scale, I would start from a half step below the root. Okay, that way I can resolve back into that root. So what's the name of that scale? That would be, if I'm in E, that would be a D sharp diminished. But again, so any note names it. So F sharp could name it. Okay, and in that case I would be resolving a whole step down. See how that resolves? Let's see, what else is in there? D sharp, F sharp, A. It could be A, so that's your 4. The F sharp is your 2. The A is your 4. Okay, so I failed to mention that last week, so I wanted to make that clear today. So we're going to build on that just a little bit today. So diminished can also refer to a chord and in which its fifth is flat. Okay, and if you look, that coincides. So root, third, fifth is flat. Okay, so perfect fifth, flat, diminished fifth. Alright? Okay, so what happens if I sharp the fifth? Now I've got an augmented fifth. Alright? So think of those two words, diminished and augmented. What they mean, not just in music, but just what they mean. If something is diminished, it's less. So I took my fifth and I've lowered it a half step, so it's diminished. It's less than a full fifth. If you augment something, you increase it. So there's my fifth, and I go here, I've increased it by a half step. Okay? So if I'm in E minor scale, you might ask, why is that? Why would you say that's an augmented fifth versus a minor sixth? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because, well, if my third is minor, then what I'm probably going to be using is diminished. Okay? If your third is major, then you wouldn't have a minor sixth here. You'd have an augmented fifth. See, it's still kind of got that eerie sound to it, but not quite as much as if it's minor. Okay? Good example of this, Eddie Money, Baby Hold On to Me. He's using a D and he's augmenting the fifth. See, how is it? Baby, hold on to me. And he's off of a major chord. So how would we? That's tricky to finger. I think I would do it this way. You hear what I'm getting at. I've got this D major. It's major because that note makes it major. It's not this. That's a whole different sound. That's minor, so that's a minor sixth. But it's this way, since it's major, that is a augmented fifth. Okay? As opposed to, say, Crazy Train, where they're in F sharp minor. You got your minor third here. So that's an obvious minor key song. So this note is not an augmented fifth. It's a minor sixth. All right, so just to kind of reiterate here, what if we did a G? All right, now what's the fifth of G? D. So let's just take our D note and make it sharp. Okay, that's going to be tricky, but we're just going to mute out the B or the A string, so we don't have that note. And what I'm going to do is hammer that first fret right there on the D string, sharpening the D, making it augmented. Let's see what that sounds like. Kind of sounds like the Eddie Money. All right, so what else might we have? Let's try an A. So we have an A major. If I want to sharp the fifth, all right. But whereas if we do those in minor, we have a D minor, or say an A minor, and I sharp the fifth. Different sound. It's a different chord. In fact, that almost insinuates an F chord, which would be a sixth chord. All right, so that's all I got for you tonight on that. The difference between diminished and augmented. You take the fifth, a half step down for diminished, a half step up for augmented, and to make an augmented chord, you also have to have a major third. Root, major third, augmented fifth. To make a diminished chord, you also have to have a minor third. Okay? Root, minor third, diminished fifth. And to use that minor or that diminished scale that we talked about last week, you would want to use it a half step lower than the key you're in. And I failed to mention that. So if I'm in A, I'm going to use a G sharp diminished. That's all for tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ask me questions, and I will see you next week.